Hey, our upgrade pace is looking solid right now, but I do think we need to push harder if we want to stay competitive. Here's the report.
What's up, guys, and welcome back to a brand new episode of my F1 2017 career mode. And we are here for the Monaco Grand Prix, and as you can see, looking at the development comparison, you can see that Mercedes have brought a pretty decent upgrade for this race here, wanting to try and catch up to Ferrari, and also, just try and realise that they've got a possible another threat in the Formula 4 season, so they want to try and pull away. And also, they are behind us in the championship, so they're obviously looking to try and catch us up and try and overtake us. But so far, the season's just literally gone off to an absolute crazy start. We're off to such a good start, and we've got so many points already in the drivers and constructors standings. Myself and Ocon really doing a good job for the team and getting some really solid points every single race. And since the patch, we've now become a top team, and we're on the money every single race. Last time out, if you did miss the episode, then I do urge you to watch it. Also, check out Russia as well. There'll be a card in the top right hand corner of the screen, and it's completely changed the face of this career mode now, and things have changed for the better in this. But here in Monaco, and one of my favourite tracks on the calendar, the ultimate driving circuit, and the one where you get the most satisfaction out of hooking up a perfect lap around here. And we're currently making our way through the practice programs, and the car felt absolutely fantastic. I'm using very worn engine components, as you saw at the beginning on the laptop there. And we will be switching some of those out for qualifying, and then a few more for the race, because I was going to try and make this race weekend with the whole thing, but it's just way too risky. Like, I'm pushing 85% on some of my parts, so I just had to sort of take a back seat and just admit that I was not going to pull it off. As you can see in the bottom right of the screen there, you can see exactly what the wear of each part is, and it's not exactly ideal. So we're just going to have to try and basically have put a new engine in. Hopefully we can save some fuel in the race and not wear the engine out too heavily on Sunday. But speaking of worn engines, overall, I'm planning on bringing some durability upgrades. I think that's going to be the next step in this career mode, because we don't need to push the chassis anymore, thanks to the patch and the double upgrade we got in the last race. So I'm probably thinking of bringing maybe a gearbox upgrade in and maybe something else. We'll probably get those maybe at the end of this episode, depending on the resource points. And also, I've got one eye on Baku for an engine upgrade, as obviously that track, we've struggled there a lot in the past. So I'm looking to try and exercise my demons around there, just so I did around Bahrain, and try and get a good result. But as you can see, now in qualifying, and there is rain expected in Q3, so keep that in mind as we kind of make our way through the sessions in Q1, comfortably getting through in 6th place. Ocon in P8, so beating our teammate there in the first part of qualifying. Now into Q2, ultra soft tyres once again, even if the race was starting dry and we had a dry Q3, like, it wouldn't have changed my strategy. I would have gone for these tyres in Q2 anyway. But like I said, there is a chance of rain in Q3, and also there's a chance of rain in the race, so keep an eye out for that one. But as you can see, 7th place in Q2, Ocon just scraped through in 10th place there, so very forced in the final part of qualifying. And in Q3, the rain was coming down straight away, so I was one of the first guys out onto the circuit. I believe I was only second behind Lewis Hamilton, who was the only man to get out ahead of me here. But as you can see, making our way through the lap here, very slippy conditions, but the dry tyres are still the better tyre compared to the intermediate. But we're only going to have one shot at getting this lap absolutely hooked up to a T. And so far, as you can see, a few more people actually sit out lap time, so we're currently down to P5 as Hamilton is man in first place. But as we come across the line here, where we're going to go in these mixed conditions, it's not going to be first place, but it's 3rd place actually behind Sebastian Vettel, so not too bad there. The question is, will we drop any further? Ocon is in 4th place, so a very good result there. No one else actually improved after that, because the track got too wet, so it was going to end in that order, and we get 3rd place with Ocon in 4th, so a very good second row for Force India as a team there. And we beat a couple of Mercedes, Red Bulls and Ferraris in the process. Raikkonen only managing P10 there. But we're going to switch out essential components and now jump into a very wet, full wet conditions Monaco Grand Prix for one of the biggest monsoons you'll ever see. So let's jump straight into the race. Right, here we are on the grid at Monaco. A very tricky race awaits us here today. Full wet conditions for the start of this Grand Prix. It's absolutely chucking it down at the moment, and the track looks absolutely soaked. We're in P3 after a very good qualifying, as you would have seen, and Hamilton being the major beneficiary from the weather conditions, and bagging himself a pole position by a rather comfortable margin of 1.7 seconds ahead of Sebastian Vettel, who is the man on my left hand side. But 3rd place, I believe Ocon's in 4th behind me, unless any penalties have been applied. So I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a very, very interesting race, this one. According to the race strategy, which we'll get on into a moment, as you can see on screen, it's going to be a wet race throughout the entirety of the Grand Prix. So it's going to be a very long 39 laps, I believe, here at Monaco. So we're in for a very, very long wet race. So we've got to try and make the most of it, try and have a little bit of fun, and see what we can do strategy-wise. And also, you never know, maybe the game might trick us and maybe go for a little bit of a weather change towards the end. But we've underfueled the car quite severely by 3 laps, as in full wet conditions I tend to save an incredible amount of fuel. So there'll be absolutely no need for us to run rich or even standard at many points in this race. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Let's try and have a good start, and let's try and actually survive Monaco, as some other YouTuber would say, wink wink. But yeah, let's jump straight into round number 6 of the season for the Monaco Grand Prix. Right, here we go then. Monaco, baby. 5 red lights. Let's try and have a good start here. Lights out, and away we go. Let's try and have a very nice launch off the line. They're getting the jump on Sebastian, also on Lewis as well, getting the inside line of the turn 1. We're going to try and stick our nose in. Lewis there, still holding it, and I'm just going to try and fight him up the hill, but Lewis just pulls in front and holds on to the lead of the race. The track is absolutely soaked here at the moment. You could literally use a boat through the streets of Monaco at the moment. You've got yellow flags behind. So far, it's just a question of trying to get a feeler for the track, try and see how the car performs. But the amount of spray being kicked up by Hamilton alone, I'd hate to be somewhere in that mid-pack. But so far, so good, keeping our car in one piece. And we've managed to get past Sebastian Vettel. Also, I've just noticed Ocon's also got past Vettel as well. So it's a Force India 2-3 around the track where you can't traditionally overtake at, which is absolutely incredible. We've also got another yellow flag at the lowest hairpin, getting a little bit of contact, as you can't really go too wide through there. But nevertheless, really good start to this race. Like I said, Force India 2-3, a lot of points on the board here, and Hamilton's the man up front. Let's see if we can try and keep up with the Brit around the streets of Monaco. Definitely don't think this video is going to be particularly long. There's going to be very little talking and quite a lot of concentrating. Me and Hamilton already putting some distance between myself and, between ourselves and Ocon. I'm trying to keep up with Lewis. He's got some very good pace here to kick things off in this race as I tap the wall there. Just very tricky conditions at the moment. I'm trying to keep the car at the wall, which you just saw at the moment didn't really go that well. But look at the gap we've got to Ocon already here. Hamilton and myself really starting to run away a bit here at the front. And it's going to be a battle with a race with very few battles, I think. Just going to be a long sort of tug of war between myself and Lewis in terms of exchanging lap time. So let's try and do our best. We do set our fastest lap of the race as we get a huge screen freeze. And yeah, we're just going to try and basically follow Hamilton here. I think I've got the pace if I really focus. So let's try and do that now and see if we can get any closer to Lewis Hamilton. So far, so good, keeping pace with Hamilton. And I can make the move. I'm just really not committing to anything just yet. I just want to see how he drives and see how his pace is like. So far, I feel comfortable. I'm actually running it in lean mix, to save fuel and also just save the engine, because there's no need for me to really use standard and really use engine anymore than I need to. This is a good chance for me to really save this engine and keep it, under wraps for at least the race and try and minimise the damage. In terms of the gearbox, also trying to not do many shifts. Normally I'd be in first gear through here. I'm just keeping it in second, letting the cars just slowly roll in and then roll out. But so far I like it. The car's performing well even in lead mix. I've got the pace over Lewis, so it's going to be either it's going to have to be a bold move, or I wait until the pit stops and try and go for a different strategy. So right now things are looking good. Tires are holding up pretty nicely. So who knows? I might just go for a really early stop, because in the wet conditions the whole similar pit stop lap sort of goes out the window. So we might just go coming for an early stop and try and undercut Lewis, and then have a little bit of a couple of sweat laps to try and come out ahead of the British driver. But so far it's a 2-horse race for the race winners. Ocon is nowhere to be seen at the moment. Oh, Lewis had a little bit of a shaky exit out of there as he goes into the back. He's running a little bit deep. I'm going to cut back underneath him, and there we go. First time of asking, I've made the move. A little bit of a corner cut there, but Lewis just sort of making a mistake coming out of the Nouvelle chicane, and that's allowed me through into the lead of the race. No major attack from me. I was just sort of putting him under pressure and just sitting behind him, and he just sort of made a mistake really under pressure. So there we go. We've made the move and we're into the lead of the race here at Monaco. So far things are good, saving a nice bit of fuel. Tyres are holding up well, engine's being saved. The only issue is gearbox, which is on 65%. So the only thing that can bother me in this race is possibly missing a gear. That's the only thing that's going to sort of disrupt my race. So hopefully none of that happens, because it's my last race with this gearbox, and then I'm probably going to buy a gearbox upgrade after this race. So for now, we've just got to try and survive. At the moment, I think I'm pretty comfortable. I reckon I can hold this until the flag, unless, and let's be honest, it's pretty likely we might get like a safety car or something, which might just, you know, throw the race up in the air. So always got to be wary of the possibilities here. But so far, so good. In first place now at Monaco with Ocon in P3, but he's literally at 15 seconds behind. It's just literally me versus Hamilton in this race. And so far, Lewis doesn't have the pace unless he starts to magically find some pace. So far, so good, controlling the pace, keeping Hamilton, you know, at a reasonable distance. And so far, things are going rather well. A little bit of a scruffy lap that time round. Also, I'm getting a little bit distracted in photo mode. As you will see, if you follow me on Twitter, at Tom87HD, then you will see some of the pictures I put up from this race on photo mode. Absolutely just, I'm so addicted to it at the moment, and get some really good shots. But Hamilton's still trying to chase me down. Luckily, I'm controlling him, and the weather has no signs of shifting anytime soon. So right now, we're looking pretty nailed on a rock solid to stay on these tyres for a little bit longer. I might come in probably next lap, or maybe lap 15, give or take. But yeah, I think I'm going to do a little bit of an earlier pit stop just to play it safe. I want to avoid Hamilton really going for the undercut, because otherwise I could be in trouble. So we'll have to wait and see. Either way, Hamilton could be on a 2 stop, so we never know. But so far, things are going well. Ocon's 23 seconds, almost 24 seconds down the road, so that is rather remarkable. I'm now positive on fuel also. So yeah, overall everything's done really well, everything's under control, and we're now waiting for the pit stops basically. We've got Magnussen exiting the pit lane there. Hopefully he doesn't get in my way too much and he just moves over to one side, because he's going to start costing me time. He has realised I'm coming, but he's not really slowing down for me. He's all out of shape going into Massenet, and he's now costing me time through this entire section here. Now he gets out of the way. There we go. That's exactly what I wanted. It cost Hamilton a little bit of time actually, just cutting in front of his path, but there we go. We managed to dodge a little bit of traffic. I'm coming up to a couple of lap cars now, so what I'll do is, once I get up to the back of them, that's probably where I'm going to pit, and then try and feed Hamilton into some lap traffic hopefully, and cost him a little bit of time, and then try and extend my lead. But right now everything's very much under control, and Jeff keeps saying that the track is starting to dry out and that it might be time for instance soon, but then when I do ask for a weather report, it's saying no signs of the rain easing up. So mixed signals from Jeff, but I'm just going to stick on these tyres for now, to be honest, and switch over to another set of full wets once the pit stops arrive. Right, so in this traffic I can see Sebastian Vettel's in there in P18, so he must have had an incident at the start with the yellow flag. So because I've cropped to the traffic, I'm going to come in now for my first stop of the race, and basically avoid having to negotiate all that traffic. Hamilton's staying out for one more lap, so good luck to him trying to negotiate with all of those guys. I'm just going to come in and get some fresh boots on and get on my way. Very poor pit stop actually, 3 seconds flat. Luckily, I think we won't have any major issues staying ahead of Lewis Hamilton thanks to the traffic he's basically in right now. So we come in, I think, a lap earlier or 2 full laps earlier than my scheduled pit stop. I almost hit that wall. I always forget that the limiter goes off literally on that pit exit. Oh wow, that was a big screen freeze. Right, let's just continue on. We'll just gloss over that. Alright, great, that's sick. That's really not done me any favours. 3 second time penalty, brilliant. Literally something that's completely out of my control. I was saying, exiting the pit lane, the limiter actually goes off early, like in a weird situation, because it goes off midway through that little chicane you have to do. But yeah, that screen freeze has just completely messed me up, because now I've got to get 3 seconds between myself and Lewis Hamilton before the end of the race. So that should be doable. As you can see, we've rejoined in second place, comfortably ahead of Esteban Ocon, who's yet to make a pit stop. So it's me versus Lewis basically to the checkered flag, and he's stuck in traffic, whereas I'm on these fresh tyres and I'm trying to put them to use. So let's try and crack on here, and let's hope we can maintain our lead once Hamilton eventually pits. Nico Hulkenberg out of the Monaco Grand Prix. Will that trigger a safety car or VSC? It doesn't look like it so far, so it looks like that's pretty good for me, because it means I'm going to hopefully retake my lead once Hamilton pits. I'm expecting him in at the end of this lap now, so let's see if Lewis does come in. Right, Hamilton is in the pit lane according to Jeff, and I'm on a pretty good lap of myself here. He's lost a handful of time because of the lap traffic, so I should be pretty comfortably ahead of Lewis, to be honest. And I've also gone back up to standard. I've got over 2 laps of fuel saved up, so there's no need for me to be in lead mix. And here comes Hamilton, legs into the pit lane right now. There he is, fastest up the race for me, and I'm getting the hammer down now, because obviously I've got that penalty, so I want to try and establish myself. I've already got a huge lead over Lewis, as you can see there. It's already pretty near enough 3 seconds, thanks to the very good outlap that I had, and also Lewis getting caught up in traffic. So now we just got to try and basically hold on to this lead that we have. Really getting the hammer down now. 3.5 seconds to Lewis Hamilton, fastest final sector. Really starting to put this force into the test now. I've had enough of them sort of laps where I'm going slow. Now it's time to really stretch my legs and see what this car can offer around the streets of Monaco. And I want to try and let's try and set a marker here. So I want to really make a statement in this race, because I think if we win this race, we go to Canada next, and that's a track where I'm quietly confident about based off of last season's performance. So we could be onto something here. I'm not going to say anything, but we've got a car here that can do bits if we hook it all up, and it's very, very exciting to say, and I'm looking forward to it. At the moment, I'm not going to say much more. I'm not going to get too ahead of myself, because we've still got pretty much double the race distance still yet to go, and we are approaching some lap traffic. So let's try and negotiate these guys first. We are coming up, just as a whole, to a lot of traffic in general, as I cut that corner an absolute treat. We're coming up to a lot of traffic in general, and we're going to have to start getting used to lapping these guys, and hopefully lapping them efficiently and not losing any time, and also keeping my front wing in one piece, which is going to be the more important factor out of all those that I mentioned. So let's try and pick these guys off one by one, starting with Kevin Magnussen. Oh, that was easier. Stroll just came in, so that's made my job a hell of a lot easier for me. So now I've just got to get past K-Mag, and then we'll have a little bit more clean now for a little while until we approach the guy that's exiting the pit lane. Now we've got 3 cars I can see on the mini-map, so loads of guys we're going to start tripping over, so we've got to really be wary of this. And also, I'm just noticing Hamilton's actually responding to my pace, to be fair to him. The gap's staying at 3.4, so this race isn't just completely done just yet. Got to keep that 3-second penalty in mind. Now would be a good time for Magnussen to get out of the way, because he's starting to really just hold me up now. He's had blue flags for literally the entire lap so far, so hopefully he pulls over to the right hand side. There we go. Thank you very much. You can suck my balls, mate, and we can move on and chase after that Sabre just up the road. Another car in the pit lane, which is going to be 1 car less for me to lap. Hamilton now stuck behind K-Mag, and I'm now stuck behind Pascal Wehrlein, who I wonder if he'll bother getting out of the way. I'm going to hope he moves out of the way into Casino, but I'm a little bit too far back, to be fair, for him to really make the move. I'm going to just get very close through here. Let's see if he pulls over to the left-hand side. That'd be very nice if he did. No, he doesn't. So AI just being stubborn around here, not willing to give up track position, and also just not willing to give up much time at all, as we have to go around the outside at Mirabeau on Wehrlein there to actually lap him. So definitely not an easy move, but we've made it, and we can now move on to the next guy. Lewis is now losing hand over fist to me over 4 seconds, as he's still stuck behind Kevin Magnussen. Meanwhile, Ocon, after his pit stop, I've noticed, has still managed to hold on to a critical 3rd place. So we could be on for a double podium here. The first one in his career mode for Force India. That'd be absolutely fantastic. We can make that come true, but I'm very, very excited over the possibility of this being a very good points heavy race for us. So let's try and bring these cars home. Right now, I feel very comfortable. Lewis being entangled in traffic is doing me loads of favours right now, and I think that's Vettel up the road who I'm going to lap. So that is rather remarkable to be lapping the guy who started from 2nd place in the grid here today. Another fast lap of the race, just really driving smoothly at the moment. The car is absolutely hooked up around here, and the tyres are surviving rather than nicely. 5.6 to Lewis Hamilton. We've got this pretty comfortably at the moment. We've just got to make sure we make no mistakes, and now our safety car is exactly what I would not want in this closing stage of the Grand Prix. As the laps progress, the safety car is definitely what I don't want. So if it's got to happen, it happens now. It doesn't happen at all. Alright, let's hope close. I was going to say Magnussen there. I hope Van Dorn gets out of the way. That was very, very close. Not the best place to get out of the way, not going to lie. It's sort of in the tunnel when I've got absolutely no grip in the dry part with these tyres. But we've got past Van Dorn. We can now just continue on here. We're cutting through this traffic rather nicely, and we're not losing a major amount of time. Also, look at the gap to my teammate, 41 seconds. Absolutely unbelievable the pace I've had around here today. And I'm still pleased as a whole. I mean, a 1-3 is absolutely ridiculous. I never thought that would have happened at the start of the Grand Prix. But also, I've just had a glance there. That looked like Bottas to me, who's the next guy I'm going to catch up. So Valtteri Bottas in the Mercedes, absolutely at nowhere this race, which is rather surprising, to be honest, considering where his teammate is. So I wonder what happened to him. Also, we obviously saw Vettel earlier way down the order, so some of the top boys having a few issues this race. I wonder where Raikkonen is also, but also the Red Bulls, you know, where will those guys be? But for now, it's looking like a solid points haul for myself and Ocon if we bring it home in these positions. I can't believe I'm saying this, but Valtteri Bottas has blue flags as I almost go straight to the back of him there. Let's see if he lets me through, and then I'll be curious to see if he holds Lewis Hamilton up at all once he eventually catches up. But Bottas has got blue flags. Let's see if he moves over. It looks like he's not moving over just yet, so will it be like Van Dorn where he pulls over to the side? Not either. So Bottas is going to be a little bit more stubborn, obviously. Few orders from above from Mercedes saying to hold me up probably because Lewis is trying to catch me, and his pace is pretty similar to me, to be fair to him, so I can understand why they're doing it. But Bottas here really costing me Hanover. He goes into the wall. Oh, I just avoid him there. That was very, very close. Bottas getting it all wrong into Tabak, and that could have been very nasty there, almost planting like a trap for me to crash into him and lose my front wing. But luckily we've survived and we've managed to navigate another back marker. Now we haven't got any for a little while, so we can try and just try and go a few more laps and try and get this car closer to the finish. We've got yellow flag up ahead here, so Jolyon Palmer, a bit of a tight squeeze. Not the best place to encounter a guy with a bit of a puncture from what I could just briefly glance at there. But Palmer going very slowly then. We just managed to negotiate him, and doesn't affect us too badly. Hopefully he can get back to the pits, because I really don't want him triggering a safety car. It's going to really mess me up if he does, because we're getting pretty close to the end of the race, and I don't know if I'll be able to get 3 seconds out on Hamilton in 5 laps time or whatever. So right now we've got a 6.2 on Lewis, and we're slowly but surely getting that gap up every single lap, and I want to just try and keep on doing that at the moment. But we're getting there. We're nearly at the finish. Okay, we're going to encounter a little bit of traffic here. Daniel Ricciardo down outside of the points in P11 there. Also wrong for a fast lap of the Grand Prix, and I've gone back down to lead a couple of laps ago to basically save the engine, because we've got the gap we need to Hamilton now. So all I've got to do is save the engine. We have another screen freeze there across the line. A fast lap of the Grand Prix, so this goes to show that even in lead mix I can really push if I want to. Hamilton's 6 seconds behind, so he's sort of keeping the gap around that margin, but that's perfectly fine for me because I've got a nice little buffer now. And about 7 laps to go in this Grand Prix. It's looking pretty much under control. I've just got to try and negotiate these last 3 cars, and those should be the last 3 that I encounter in this Grand Prix in terms of traffic. So we've got to try and pick these off one by one, and just keep our car in one piece. It'd be absolutely critical now that we don't lose any parts of our car, because we need to try and bring this home. So let's try and get past these one by one here, starting things off with Daniel Ricciardo, who I hope will move out the way to the right hand side here on the exit. There we go. That's exactly what I wanted. So Ricciardo moves. Now let's try and get past Grosjean. Alright, here goes Grosjean. He's going to get out of the way nasty for me. Into Rascats. Ooh, very close. Very, very close. Just keeping my front wing in one piece as we go through the final corner. And there we go. We've got past Romain Grosjean. We can now try and get past Felipe Massa. Alright, now will Massa move out the way for me here? Let's have a look. He's going very slowly. He's going to pull to the inside. Let me have the outside line basically through Poultier. Not the best way to let me through, but I've made the move. Hamilton's gained just a huge chunk of time there. It was 4.5 over the line. It's probably even less now, so hopefully he loses a little bit of time behind those guys as I try to re-establish my lead and re-establish the gap I had over him. Another fastest lap just to really drive the point home that we've been the top guy around here today in lead mix. Hamilton sort of matched my lap times, but just like a 10th or 2 laps slower. At the moment, everything is under control with 2 laps to go. And look at that. Over 6 laps of fuel saved up. I've been in lean for the majority of the race. And that is absolutely ridiculous how much fuel we saved. And it's going to be very good for the engine in terms of how much we save, which is absolutely critical for the long run in the season here. Right, it's been a fantastic performance this weekend. Really, really good car, and the race pace has been unbelievable. Wet conditions all the way through, a very long race. I don't know which one will be sweeter, this one or Spain, because Spain was in the dry, so there's more merit to it. But nevertheless, a win is a win, and it's Monaco, baby. Get in. What a result. 2 race wins on the bounce. I never thought I'd be saying that in Season 3 of Career Mode. Absolutely unbelievable scenes, and what an achievement that is, and I'm looking forward to it. This car is an absolute monster, and we go to Canada next, which is a track that I won at last year, and I picked up my first ever race win in Formula 1, so I've got good reason to be confident, especially after the last 2 results we've had. But look at that, top step of the podium here at Monaco, absolutely unbelievable, and Ocon manages to bring it home in 3rd place, so a double podium finish, 1 and 3 for Force India. Absolutely unbelievable. What a race, what a result, and a huge points haul for us as a team. Our best ever combined result, and just so much good stuff coming out of that race. But look at that podium. We've got brand new boots, because I did, for some reason, I had some red ones before. Also, the helmet was slightly modified for this race with a lighter tone of pink to match the overalls, and also the brand new car liveries. But as you can see, we kissed the trophy, and that is that. Top step of the podium at Monaco, with Lewis Hamilton in 2nd place. And how about that? 2 Pink Panthers on top in Monaco. What a result, and what a race. Right, so looking at the final race results, I win at Monaco ahead of Lewis Hamilton and Esteban Ocon, rounding out the top 3. Hamilton 3 seconds behind me in the end, and then Esteban Ocon over a minute behind. And then Carlos Sainz and Kvyat in 4th and 5th. Double solid points finish for Toro, so they'll be very happy with that. Max Verstappen finishes in P6 where he started. Kimi Raikkonen from 13th on the grid up to P7. Fernando Alonso scoring points for McLaren there. Good result for him. And Massa and Grosjean round out the top 10. Ricciardo and Van Dorn and Bottas just missing out on points as we scroll further down. Hulkenberg, the only DNF, and Sebastian Vettel down in P14 there. So something very, very poor race from him there. And obviously some things didn't really work out. Two-stop strategy, which is not ideal around here, and that will cost you a lot of time. But in terms of the driver standings after that race, we leap up into 2nd place. Unbelievable. I cannot believe I'm saying this. We are 2 points ahead of Sebastian Vettel and 21 points behind Kimi Raikkonen. But we are in 2nd in the Drivers' Championship. And Esteban Ocon is only 5 points behind Lewis Hamilton, and he stays in 5th place. But what an incredible double points finish this race. And that's really changed things. In terms of the Constructors, we're holding 2nd place at the moment. And we're 60 points behind Ferrari and 51 points. But 61 points ahead of Mercedes. So, and pretty much slap bang in the middle between those two teams, and it'd be fantastic if we could finish the Constructors here at the end of the season. But it's going to be a big ask and a big just a big task as a whole. We've got to really try and get our act together to really pull that one off. We're now going to jump into Laptop to buy a couple of possible durability upgrades. Right, so as you can see on the right hand side, pretty solid 4th team at the moment, and we've got 1,482 points, so we are just going to miss out on getting 2 upgrades. However, the first one I'm going to get is going to be the gearbox, because I want to try and get a gearbox upgrade. That should arrive for the next race in Canada. And the other one is probably going to be the ICE, because it's a pretty big part of the car that needs improving. So we're going to get an ICE upgrade, and that will arrive for the next race. And then we've got 482 left over, which we will hopefully bank on at the end of the next episode and try and bring, possibly, I'd like to bring an engine upgrade to Austria. If not, then bring one to Baku. So we may or may not do an upgrade at the end of the next episode, depending on how things work out, because we've got these upgrades here. So obviously we can improve the chance of failures, and they're actually pretty cheap in the engine department. And then obviously we've got the ones that make the upgrades cheaper. So I might even go for a few of these, to be honest. But for Baku, I do want to bring an engine upgrade. That's what I've got in my mind at the moment. That's the plan. So we'll keep an eye on that, and hopefully that develops nicely for us. But on that, guys, that's going to wrap things up for this episode of Career Mode. If you have enjoyed it, then smash the like button. Let's see if we can try and smash 300 likes on this episode. Also, subscribe to the channel if you're new around here, and check out these videos on screen if you haven't done so already. And also, go check out GT Omega in the links down below in the description to get a cheeky 5% discount. Use the code TOM97 at discount, and that should hopefully get a little bit of discount off on your final purchase or whatever it may be. But other than that, guys, thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you in my next video very soon. Goodbye.